inside my mind. Today I learned that not everyone has an internal monologue, and it has ruined my day. My day was completely ruined yesterday when I stumbled upon a fun fact that absolutely obliterated my mind. I saw this tweet yesterday that said that not everyone has an internal monologue in their head. All my life I could hear my voice in my head and speak in full sentences as if I was speaking out loud. I thought everyone experienced this, so I did not believe that it could be true at that time. Literally the first person I asked was a classmate of mine who said she cannot hear her voice in her mind. I asked her if she could have a conversation with herself in her head, and she looked at me funny, like I was weird one in the situation, so I began to become more intrigued. Most people ask that they have this internal monologue that is running rampant throughout the day. However, every once in a while, someone would say they don't experience this. My life began to spiral out of control with millions of questions. How do they get through the day? How do they read? How do they make decisions between choice A and choice B? My friend described it as concept map, that she sees in her brain, although another friend says she literally sees the world in her head when she's trying to think about something. I was taking ibuprofen at this point in the day because my brain was literally unable to comprehend this revelation. How have I made it 25 years of my life without realizing that people don't think like me? I posted a poll on Instagram to get a more accurate assessment of the situation. Currently, 91 people have responded that have an internal monologue, and 18 reported that they do not have this. I began asking those people questions about things that they experience, and it's quite different from the majority. I would tell them that I could look at myself in the mirror and have a full-blown telepathic conversation with myself without opening my mouth, and they responded as if I had schizophrenia. One person even mentioned that when they do voiceovers in the movies of people's thoughts, they wish that it was real. And to their surprise, they did not know that the majority of people do, in fact, experience the echoey voice in their head that is portrayed in TV and film. Another person said that if they tried to have conversation with themselves in the mirror, they would have to speak out loud because they can't physically do it inside their mind. I started posting screenshots of conversations on my Instagram, and my box started to flood with people responding to the investigation. Many people were reassuring me that I was not crazy for having an internal monologue, while others were absolutely mind-blown I was. People were telling me that I ruined their day and that they do not understand anything about life. Maybe you're all just a figment of my imagination, but regardless, yesterday made reality seem even more skewed. How do you think? How does this affect relationships, jobs? It's nearly finished. Experiences, education. How has this not been mentioned to me before? All these questions started flooding my mind. Can those people without the internal monologue even formulate these questions in their mind? If they can, how does it happen if they don't hear their voice? I mentioned earlier that I was spiraling out of control. Well, as I write this and as I hear my own voice in my head, I'm continuing to fall down the rabbit hole. When other people just have different definitions to their thoughts, or if people literally don't have an internal monologue, there is one thing that we do know. You will definitely get a headache if you keep thinking about this. Yeah, people in non-duality already know. You have to take ibuprofen. I remember there was one gentleman who's listening to this talk now, who, this is what my partner told me. He told me that one of the people on the retreat had heartache, not heartache as in like bad heartache, but emotional pain, and they took an ibuprofen for it. And I thought this was so funny. I don't mean to be mocking the person who it happened to, but I just thought it was really endearing. Like, it never occurred to me to take ibuprofen for emotional pain before. Just trying to wrap, but I think a lot of people do it because a lot of people don't realize it's emotional pain. Just trying to wrap my head around it, causing irreversible brain damage. I suggest asking people around you what they experience. If you are one of the few that do not have this internal monologue. Please enlighten me, because I do not understand life anymore. Send help. That's a sweet article. This article of the internal monologue. I have an internal monologue, sort of, and sort of not. But it's like sometimes on and sometimes not, and it often feels very far away, like it's really far in the distance, but I can feel it, and it's kind of like it's often trying to organize things, like organize what I think about this or what I think about that. So not so much like telling me what's happening in my life, but more like organizing concepts, like and telling me what's what. And most people believe that's who they are. So some people that don't have it at all, so then that'd be interesting to ask them who they think they are. But for those that do have it, most people think that internal monologue is you, that one that's telling you what's happening and discussing, and that's not who you are. And they also think that that person has free will to choose, but science reports that the conscious choice happens 6 seconds after the body's made the choice. So there's a choice that's made that's unconscious, and then it takes 6 seconds for there to then be a conscious choice.